Hi everyone, welcome to the next Behind the Door series. I'm Shannon and I'm one of the counselors here at LMB Counseling, and I am super excited to talk to you today about trauma and about trauma in the body. So first off, trauma is a normal part of life, but the effects that it has afterwards do not need to be a normal part of life. The more we know about trauma, the more we widely acknowledge its effects on us, the more we can break down the barrier of the silence surrounding trauma. So we will start off with talking about what is trauma. So trauma at its core creates disconnection. It's an inability to be fully present with your own being and with others. After trauma, you may suffer from many emotionally, mentally, and physically painful feelings that can cause you to isolate, withdraw, or compromise yourself in other ways. So trauma can look different for everyone. It can have different effects. You may have an intensified fear center in your brain. You may feel alone. You may feel on edge. You may feel misunderstood. You may even be more quick to have arguments with others. You can also suffer from a lack of self-esteem, which further creates separation from you and your authentic self and your authentic self with others. You may even feel like you can solve it on your own and there's not a problem there, and that may even be because it's hidden far down in our bodies. Trauma can also escape in rage outbursts. It can come up during triggers, different times. Trauma affects everyone differently. So we'll talk about a few different types of trauma. Actually, different types of trauma. The first trauma we'll talk about is developmental trauma. So you may realize you're dealing with the result of not having your essential needs met as a child. You may have had unavoidable extended separation from your primary caregiver, or you may have been neglected as a kid, whether it's physically or emotionally. This is trauma. This is a part of what happened to you and what didn't happen to you. So it could be how you were treated and how you weren't treated. Lack of nurturance disrupts the development of brain processes that help us develop a unified sense of self and resilience. So those attachments to our caregivers as kids have a lot of effects on us as we grow up. There's also intergenerational trauma, which may originate between beyond personal experience of you and your family of origin. So it could go back multiple generations. There could be experiences, 3 great-grandpas back that have an effect on you and your family. The other type of trauma is acute or shock trauma. And so this is that overwhelming event that most people see as the normal trauma. So this could be something like a car accident, a terminal diagnosis, physical or sexual abuse, even something like an emotional blow like a divorce or a death in the family. Natural disasters can be included in there as well. And with any of these events, they do not have to happen firsthand to you. It could be something that you have experienced secondhand. Maybe someone close to you experienced it. Maybe you're watching somebody else go through it. Maybe you were told the events of the way that panned out. That can be trauma on you. Transforming trauma rather than disregarding, burying, or shutting it away can lead to positive restoration and reemergence of your unique self in full vitality. So next, we're going to talk about trauma in the body. So when you experience this impact of an unexpected or frightening event, the acute trauma shocks you, sending a jolt through your nervous system. You can't grasp the full significance of this type of traumatic event in the moment, so it creates a trauma response in your body. Therefore, trauma does live in your body, not in the traumatic event itself. This is why something traumatic can happen to you, and even though the event is still not going on, you are still suffering from the effects of it, whether it is you're hypervigilant, you're anxious, nightmares, sweating. There's so many different things, always worrying about where you are and what's going to happen next. So along with this jolt, these normal yet powerful emotions disrupt your cognitive capacity to sort through what happened and process your experience. So not only does it sit in your body, but it also causes you to have a hard time to actually process it, which is where counseling comes in. All of this creates an internal disorganization in your body, which is unable to return to a state of balance. And it really takes time to process through those traumas, to move past them, and to gain insight on all of them. So all these emotions remain, but are repressed and split off from the consciousness, which causes disturbances in your body and mind until they're integrated. Your body is either perpetually scared, on high alert, or overly vigilant, or shut down and disconnected in varying degrees. This creates an inner tension that heightens your perception of actual and potential danger, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. So your brain keeps that event in there and it holds on to it, and the next frightening thing that comes up, you may have a similar reaction. You may have an exaggerated reaction. Even if the event is something that is not extreme, your brain is saying, wait, on high alert, you need to watch out for this, be careful. And so it can cause you to kind of be like this 24/7, where you are just completely on edge at all times of what is going to happen next. Or it could even be in certain situations where you're on edge, such as triggers. And so the memories in your brain, they are not only emotionally and cognitive, it resides in your body, and that unfinished physical impacts of trauma can remain held in your body. So the last part that we'll talk about is healing. And that is what we as counselors want to help our clients do, is heal through that trauma. So trauma can be incredibly difficult to talk about. We're here to be that comforting space, that safe spot where you feel like you can work through those traumas. It really does help to process through all of them, to have someone that's sitting there listening and hears you when you're talking about these traumatic events, no matter what it may be. Most of us must purposely work to open to the state of being, or to allow to its natural grace. So unresolved trauma continues to live in your body, and so it takes a conscious act to work through these traumas in order to have it leave our bodies. The healing process to trauma, it's not linear. It can be up and down. It can be a hard road to go through. Again, that is what we are here for, what we're happy to be here for you with. Over time of the healing process, you'll feel an increased sense of aliveness, renewed space for joy, and enhanced capacity for presence in your everyday life. And so with building that foundation of safety, you'll learn to ground, orient, and resource yourself. This helps you to develop a deeper capacity for body awareness while enhancing your capacity for self and emotional regulation. You will also see improvements in your interpersonal relationships, and you also see improvements in your relationship with yourself, which is the utmost important. We want all that to be restored to its normal functioning level. So trauma is a huge topic. We could go much more into detail on trauma. This is just a quick overview of what we might be talking to your children or to our clients to in session, and helping them work through the trauma that they have experienced. For my next Behind the Door series in a few weeks from now, what I'll do is start walking through what the healing process might look like, what are some exercises we might do, what are some different techniques we might use with clients in session. thank you all for joining me today for my first Behind the Doors series. Please feel free to reach out to LMB with any questions. Thanks so much. Bye.